Test 1, 2. And welcome once again, ladies and gentlemen, to the casino at Dania Beach and this afternoon's 9-game performance. We feature wagering on win, play, show, quinella, exacta, and trifecta on each and every game. We also have 2 daily doubles. The first one starts in game 1. And the second one begins in game 8. We also have 2 pick 3s. First one starting in game 3, the second one in game number 6. There's also superfecta betting in 2 games. Games 4 and 7, those 2 games will be played with spectacular 9 scoring. Also, the third superfecta has been added. It is in game number 9 this afternoon. The Dania Alai Invitational continues with action this upcoming week. We'll look forward to get toward the finals and see who wins the roster here at Dania Alai. Great group of young players. We hope you've enjoyed it all season long, and we look forward to bringing you more action the next couple of weeks. First game post time this afternoon will be at 1 p.m. We ask everybody to please make your selections early in each betting period. Place your wagers. First game starts now in 13 minutes. We welcome all our highlight fans watching on YouTube this afternoon from the casino at Dania Beach as we bring you this afternoon's performance. Big Dave Lemon here along with Benny Bueno, our
legendary Big Dave Lemon.
Players manager here. And a lot of people have thrown some kudos your way, Benny, for the great job you've put together this season and the invitational and the tournaments. People enjoying it quite a bit. A year ago, we didn't know what was going to happen again, but you got to be thrilled now here about 6 weeks into the season how well it's gone.
Yeah, everything is, I guess, right on pace. We're getting ready to finish up week 6. It's been a great turnout in the partidos, and we just talked off air a little bit about how you were watching it, but very loosely, and so don't worry about that. We're gonna talk about it a little bit later, and I'll tell you about it, and also the fans that might have missed it. But we've had a couple of really close games. We had a couple of games that weren't close, but they were well contested. And yeah, everybody's right where we expected we thought we'd be in week 6. We're getting ready for week 7, which is the semifinals. I've got a couple of really good matches coming up next week, and then the finals, and then we bring it in for a landing. So yeah, I got to say thank you first to you for helping out here. Dave Lamont's taking a couple of days off to go visit his son in Texas. And, I think we should start off by, if you want, you're not obligated, but maybe, tell the people what you've been up to for the last year and so since we left here in November, if you want.
No problem. I was looking forward to working at the sports book at the Seminole Hard Rock. You know that I've always been a big sports gambling fan. And
yes.
Finally, when it comes to Florida, in some fashion, a lot of it's online, but it really hasn't passed what it should be.
Right.
But the Hard Rock was moving forward with their sports book. They were building the sports book. I was one of the first people who actually interviewed for the job, and I got hired on the spot and was training, and they decided to put an online app on, as that's what their national goal is, obviously.
Right.
It wasn't perfectly legal in Florida, and they got shut down, and that stopped the sports book. So I was out of a job there. They did offer me another position. I ended up working in the poker room because I had some experience in poker. but it was rough on me physically because of my advancing age. So I ended up back at Miami Alai, and my life going full circle. Of course, there's no Alai there anymore, but a good friend of mine, Dan Licciardi, general manager there, has been a friend of mine for close to 40 years, called me up and said, listen, I need some help here in the Players Club. He said, you know the casino business, you know the highlight business, and I'd like to have you come in and help supervise that. So I've been there since March, so it's been quite a bit. Unfortunately, it didn't really allow me to do any games here except for filling in on my day off on Sunday.
Right. Yeah, and I was thinking about it on the way home, and that's why I asked you, because obviously I knew you were working there, and I knew you've been there for the whole last year. And I guess my question is, and before I ask you the question, I'll just lay it out there. I grew up in that building. I mean, when I was 13, 14 years old, we weren't allowed to go in and watch the professional games. But I was a part of the North Miami Academy, the highlight school there, and they would take us on Sundays, and we would play tournaments, or we'd practice on the court, and we'd have fun in on the days that they were dark. And very rarely, but on occasion, they would take us up to the announcer's booth, where those little seats are up there next to the announcer's booth, during a Saturday night performance to watch some of the professionals play. But again, it was illegal. It was a big hassle with the state, and so it was a very rare occasion, although I did get to do it maybe once or twice. But the point I was going to make is, on Sundays, we would go and we would have either practices or tournaments or things like that. And we were in groups. So whenever my group, which was, like Ray Duran and a couple of Jackie Hernandez, a couple of those guys, we would run around the whole building and we would play hide and go seek. And we used to go up to what eventually became the Courtview Club, which was just a dark, empty area that was like maybe storage or something. And we used to play hide and go seek up there. So I love that building. I grew up in the building. So my question to you is, and I know obviously you had a great career there with doing PR and marketing and all that stuff. What is it like going to that building every day and not having highlight there? Do you even notice that it's not there?
Of course I noticed that. I mean, it is home for me as well. But the one thing I don't get to enjoy is the crack of the ball on the wall. That's when you really knew you were home. Yeah. But for people who don't know, we built the casino down there at Miami in kind of an L shape around the building. Right. When you're looking at it at the front, it's the right side of the building and the back. And the back at one time was a party room, a big...
I was going to say that. We were in that room many times doing the Sunday afternoon show, Miami Highlights. You and I did over 100 shows, and now that's part of the casino, right?
Yeah, absolutely. That's probably the biggest part of the casino. Of course, on the right is the Players Club and the poker room and the sports book. So all that stuff's in there, which you pass if you go into the back room. Right. But it has that big high ceiling that it always did. Right. When we had the party room there and where we did our shows. Yeah.
And it used to be the poker room.
Exactly.
Back in the day.
And it was beautiful. They spent like $1.5 million on putting that together. But the one weird thing is you come in and you really don't see the court at all unless I make it a point to walk around by the lobby of the old Alai area and take a look at the court. But that's changing. They are doing some work on it now. They've been working on the lighting in the building. There's lots of talk about what might come in the future, but immediately next weekend they're having a boxing card. Don King doing the promoting there,
which they had one a couple of weeks ago too, or maybe
it was a couple months ago. But they brought it back for another one. They thought that was going to be Don's farewell, but he wants to keep his hand in it. So it's really a great card coming up next Saturday. And they have that little stage right outside the court, and they put the ring there, and then they seat people on the highlight court in tables, and of course all the auditorium seats are still there for people to watch the fights as well. Coming up later, they're talking about having an extended run of the River Dance show, a traveling show, the Irish dancing. So lots of things are happening in the future. It takes time to get that together, but who knows? Maybe we'll have Jimmy Buffett back there again.
Yeah,
someday.
well, I was going to just say that first off, Don King did a lot of boxing matches years back in the Crystal Card Room where we used to do our show, which you say now is part of the big part of the casino. But also, they used to have concerts there back in the late 70s. I mean, I saw a bunch of groups. I saw Black Sabbath. I saw the Cars, Foghat, Eddie Money. I mean, I saw a bunch of shows when I was 15, 16 years old there at the old Miami Alai Stadium or on the court, actually. But one of our players, and I called you up on this a couple of weeks ago, one of our players here, Ledouche, and actually a couple of the French players wanted to go to Miami High Alai they actually went there, and they tried to walk in to see the court, and they got stopped by security. They weren't allowed to. So I called you up to see if maybe there's somehow some way we could get them in there just to take a look at it. There, it's been a lifelong dream from childhood for a lot of these guys that play in Spain and France and the Basque region, and to play at Miami High Alai or even just see it, see some play at Miami High Alai. So they went specifically to go and try to at least get a picture on the court, and they got stopped. And then I called you, but it turns out that a couple of days after you and I spoke, they got in contact with Daniel Michelena, which worked there for many years, has a great relationship with Dan and everybody else there. So somehow, some way, he coordinated it so he could take them out there. And I saw there was some pictures that they posted either on Facebook or Instagram a couple of days ago. And you see the court, and you see that the screen has been raised up, and you see the big stage there. So it kind of looks like they're getting ready to do something there, but I don't know how long they were there, and I know for sure they didn't throw any balls or do anything like that. They just wanted to actually go out there and see the court and take a picture of it. So it's nice to know that they were able to do that, because who knows if and when they'll ever get to actually play on that court.
Well, it's a lot like here for like Little League baseball players that think about the first time they walk into Yankee Stadium and they walk through the tunnel out and see the field for the first time. It's really awesome. Yeah. And for them, I'm sure it is too. I'm sure they would have loved to have thrown the ball around, but who knows, maybe someday, again, that will happen. But that's one of the things I want to touch on later in the program today in between games is what you've learned from them as far as their experience here, because I'm sure they've heard a lot of things. Some things are the same, some things are different. But you went through an incredible career starting as a ball boy, and I want to talk about some of that and how you compare that career with what they're doing.
Sounds good. Yeah, I mean, these guys, for the most part, they're loving being here. It's an experience. They're having a fun time. I know a couple of their family members, Echeverry's father, and I think his parents are here now. Eric Iristorza just got into town a couple days ago. He may be stopping by either today or next week. So for them, it's an experience. It's something they'll never forget. My hopes is that they like it so much that they are willing and able to come back next year, because we've already filed for the dates for December and January, and we're preparing. As far as I'm concerned, all the players that are here now are probably going to get invited back, with the exception of the few that may be under contract at Magic City. But even some of those guys I would love to have back too, but there's a contract that they're tied into, and so up to now there have been players that I had planned to maybe bring for this 2-month tournament, that are now playing over there, like Yeche and Goichari and similar guys, Jairo, the guys that played here before. But unfortunately, because they're under contract over there and on their insurance, they weren't permitted to play here. So that's kind of the reason we kind of planned beat it and went out looking for players in other places.
Okay, we're running out of time because we got to start the first game. We'll get underway, but Benny and I will be back in between games to have some conversations. One of the things to think about is there a difference of opinion now back in the European countries of players that maybe turned you down but maybe are regretting that now? So we'll talk about that a little bit more. When
Sounds good. There's a lot to talk about if we take that route. And again, thank you for being here today. We really appreciate it. We're going to call it the Legends Corner today because Dave is definitely anybody that is kind of new to High Alai. If you Google or YouTube Miami High Alai Partidos or anything like that, and anything pops up from the 80s or 90s, like you're going to hear Dave. He was probably the guy that was announcing those. So it's good to have you back. He was here with us right before we closed in November 2021, and it's always a pleasure.
Always great to be here. A second home for me, kind of, but my later in life home, obviously. We'll get things underway. If you're listening out there, we hope you enjoy the games and have some luck betting this afternoon. This is final call for betting on the first game and the early daily double. This is last call. We're set to start game one, ladies and gentlemen. Before we do, we'd like to have you please rise as we honor America with a playing of our national anthem. This is game one this afternoon. Spectacular 7 singles match. Played to 7 points. Points doubling after the first round of play. This game starts this afternoon's early daily double. Serving and wearing the red shirt, post 1, Benatrice. Receiving in blue, post 2, the board. First game is on. There's a Dejada to the inside. Nice shot there by Benatrice. Point to the 1. Wearing white in post 3 is Atine. That is hooked too low. Point to the 3. Wearing the green shirt, post 4 is Goanaga. And that pops out of the cesta. 4 gets a point. Black shirt, post 5, Mancy. That comes low off the back wall, and Mancy unable to make the save. It is point 4. Wearing gold, post 6 is Oyenard. Point 6. Portet wears brown, post 7. Costado heads inside and will score, point 6. Purple, post 8, Daniel. Daniel with a reverse, comes high off the back wall. Rebote save there by Oyenard. Again, the rebote by Oyenard takes a big bounce on the outside of the court and scores, point 6. 3 straight for Oyenard in post 6. He'll try to turn the corner here as he serves to post 2. That is Laborde. Points are double. First to 7 wins this game. One of the 2. 2 will serve to post 1. Benatrice. Scoop on the backhand by Laborde. Now Benatrice, he'll drive it over the top, looking for the high bounce. Climbing the sidewall and making a play as Laborde, but his throw is too high. Hits the pad, out of play. Point of the 1. So 1 will serve now. 2 post 3 at time. Tyne tries to wave it back to the front wall. Can't do it, though. It's point of the 1. That's 5 points now for Benatrice. Post 1, possible game point. He will serve to Mancy, post 5. Check, winner. Excellent throw by Mansi, point 5. Five serving to 4, Goanaga. There's the carry-on by Mansi, point 5. And 5 will serve now to post 7, Portet. Strong rebote. Curves back onto the court. Now the rebote by Portet stays in play. Mansi with the right side this time. Little too hard, hits the back wall on the fly, and Portet plays the save. Over the shoulder try by Portet, spins out of his cesta, and 5 gets 2 more. Here's Daniel, post 8, possible game point for the 5. That rebote is too high, and it is point 10 game. Post 5, Mansi. 1 is second, and post 6 will take third. Winning game 1 this afternoon, the 5, Mansi finishing second, post 1, Benatrice. Coming in third, post 6, Oyanard. Your Quinella is 1-5, your exacta 5-1, the trifecta 5-1 and 6. And here come your prices. 1-5 Quinella in game 1, $15 even. 5-1 exacta, $43.20. Trifecta 5-1-6, $400 and 20 cents. Game 2 is up next. It completes the daily double. It is a spectacular 7 doubles match, played to 7 points with points doubling after the first round of play. Make your selections. Get in line at the windows and place your bets now. Post time is 7 minutes away. Big Dave Lemon here this afternoon, joining Benny Bueno for a little commentary in between games, and we hope you enjoyed this all season long with Dave Lamont, and looking forward to doing it this afternoon. It's a show that we did, Benny, years ago. We referenced it a few times the first time I was on, but we used to just come in there, and I had another job. I had to work Sunday mornings. It was a big football day, so I would come rolling in about 2:30 before we started the show, get there 15, 20 minutes ahead of time, and never did we really prepare for a show.
No, but, very much like this, we always had a lot of content. There was always something to talk about. There was always somebody we wanted to talk about. There was always somebody we would like to bring on to the show, which hopefully we could do some of that next year. We're kind of late in the game this year to bring in special guests and do things like that, but definitely there's always content, and I was laughing a little with you earlier, but with Dave the other night, Dave Lamont, saying that we pretty much talked about everything that we could, but every once in a while there's a good question in the chat. It brings up an old story or something that fills in the couple of minutes that we have, and we rarely get to talking about highlight. At least the live highlight, the game previous. We could talk about a couple of things from that last game. Mansi and a couple of the other guys that did some good stuff, but we always fill the airtime with other things. And so I want to address something real quick, because it's something that Ed in the chat brings up, and it's one of the first comments that he brings up, that there's a discrepancy in the stats, and I actually did know that, because when I came in, Aaron and I talked about it, and the computer program that we use now is really good at, tracing errors and fixing things and stuff. But I looked at it and it was, ironically, it looked correct. So I told Aaron, I said, listen, I'm going to have to do a deeper dive, and I'm going to be a little busy today. So on Wednesday, I'll take a look at it. But in your comment here, you say that you think that Arrieta might have gotten credit for a win instead of Aaron. So that gives me a little head start, gives me a hint to what to look for. I still have to go, performance by performance. But thank you for bringing that up, because I already knew, but I think we'll figure it out. We'll straighten it all out. Hopefully by Wednesday afternoon, everything will be fixed and where it should be. The other thing is Michael Perry's asking about Don King and what he's doing with his property in West Palm Beach. That property is a prime location, and that property is worth millions of dollars. So he's trying to sell it, and he's a little delusional of what it's worth. I think he's asking like $30 million. But he was talking with either the city or of West Palm Beach or the county or somebody about creating something, a public, I don't want to say a landfill, but something to that effect, something that public service. But I think that fell through. And anyways, the most important part of this story is that he doesn't own the Highlight license. So he can't play, he could play Highlight there, but he can't do pari-mutuel Highlight, because I think that either the Rooney family at Palm Beach Kennel Club or somebody kept the license when they sold him the property.
We mentioned Dave Lamont earlier. I have a picture of us when we were still in college at the University of Miami playing in a media tournament. We borrowed some shirts from the baseball team and wore them in the tournament, but it's pretty funny.
Oh, nice.
And I can remember how fun that was to go out on that court and how different it was, because when you walked in the front door there, it was a long walk to get to the seats and then a longer walk to even get to the court. So
yeah,
it's a massive building.
Yeah, and it's unique, and it's really nice. I actually drove by it last summer, and I got chased away by some security guards, but I took some pictures of the outside. It's really run down. They don't let anybody in the building because it's really dangerous. There's, the roof is about to collapse at any moment, so they don't let anybody in the building. But the court's still there, and it's still intact. And it is a very unique court because it's narrow, it's long, it's got, if I'm not mistaken, it has a granite back wall as well as the front wall. So it was always fast. The front pad, instead of being like, I guess the regulation 3 foot, it was like 2.5 feet. So it was a unique court. I don't want to say it was odd, but it was different. And very fast court. It was great for Felix with the big right side, so he took full advantage of that.
I wanted to talk just a bit. We don't have a lot of time this game, but the style of play that you touched on, how fundamentally sound these young players that you brought in are. The difference for me watching Highlight is, and I miss the styles of some of the old players. They weren't perfect fundamentally, but everybody had their unique style, and they were very different. These guys, a lot of them, of course I haven't seen them play too much, but they look pretty much the same because the quality of their fundamentals is very good. Is that something you looked for when you chose these players?
Yeah, usually I like to watch them live, but now with the technology and YouTube and they're out there, I really didn't get a chance to see them live or go to the Basque Country. But yeah, they have great academies over there. They have great schools. Every town has a court. I mean, they have, the infrastructure that I wish we had here, they have over there. It's like basketball here. You could sign your kid up in any basketball rec league or academy or training facility, and that's what Highlight is over there in the Basque Country in both Spain and France. So they get to it. I was hearing an interview this morning with Echeberry's father, how they're starting a new program where they're going to exclusively work with like 15 and 16-year-olds to get them to the next level, which is great for us because, eventually we're going to try to cycle players and try to get I'm not going to say young players here, but these guys, a lot of them are debuting for the first time. So it's something I look for. I definitely look for quality as far as the game. Mechanics to me is very important, and then which I didn't really know these players personally, but that they're good people is very important to me too.
Well, you think of some of the unique styles of guys, the smoothness of an Asin, maybe the hitch in the backhand of Laka II from Tampa.
Right.
Juan II, who used to smother that short hop pickup on the right side. And those styles really
really brought the game home for me, and I loved it. So I missed some of that, but I think the fundamental part of the game is maybe the most important, really.
Well,
for them.
I mentioned this a couple of weeks ago, how, you know, everybody starts somewhere, and all these guys are new, and the names that you mentioned, Asin and Laka and those guys, we remember them, you know, kind of like as veteran players that were, you know, that had these unique styles and had this in their game. So I still have hope that a lot of these guys will grow into a better version of themselves today.
And I certainly think that will happen. Obviously, I'm sure in this short season you don't get a lot of time to work with players, but we'll touch on that a little bit later as well.
We have somebody here that wants to know if you're going to be coming back at any point of this season.
Well, I'll be here next Sunday. That's the only thing I know for sure. We only have about 2 weeks left in the season, and my only day off is Sundays. So with Dave going out of town again, I will fill in next Sunday if people want to listen again.
Of course they do. All right, let's get the game started.
Final call, game 2. Game 2 is doubles. It's spectacular 7 scoring. Serving and wearing the red in post 1, Lalu and Arta. And receiving in the blue shirts of post 2, set to receive, Uresti and Mansi. That fan's out of play. Let's point to the 2. Wearing the white shirts of post 3, here's Benatrice and Oyenar. And that one clips the sidewall and sails off the court. Point to post 2. Wearing green, post 4, Aaron and Danelle. Point 2. Three straight for the 2 team right out of the box, and they'll serve now to post 5. Wearing the black shirts, it's Echeberry and Atine. And that is an overserve, point 5. Ripping the remate is Rutia, and it scores for the 6. 6 now serving to post 7, wearing brown, Goenaga and Mandiola. Urrutia shoots cortada. It's caught on the backhand by Goenaga. Point 6. Six, 7, 8 in purple. Ladouche and Portet. Reverse back to the inside of the court, pops out, backpedaling and making the play is Urrutia. Catch on the backhand. Nice play there by Laborde. Laborde this time shoots it over the top. Looking for the high bounce and back to get it. Now the strong throw to the inside. Urrutia plays the rebote, center of the court. Now moving to the inside and grabbing it is Portet. Leaping catch there by Urrutia. That one gets by on the inside, gets by Laborde. Cannot make the rebote on the way back out. It's point to the 8. So nice volley there, and 8 will serve to the returning 1 team. It's Lalu and Arta. Points are double for the remainder of the game. 1st to 7 wins. Tips off the cesta. Score for the 8. Eight serving to 3. That is Benatrice and Oyenard. Catching the serve, dropping in a Dejana is Benatrice. Nice play there, point 3. And that brings back post 4. Aaron and Danelle. Remate off the serve by Aaron, point 4. Point two. Two team with 5 points now, so it's possible game point. Oresti and Mansi, post two. They'll serve to the 5. Who will try and stop them? That's Echeverry and Atan. Out of the cesta of Echeverry, and it's point and game, post two. The 8 will finish second. Now playoff for show position. 3, 4, and 6. First 6 will serve to 3. 4 waits on deck. Point 6. There's a remate. It's run down on the outside by Urrutia, and a beautiful catch on the cortada. And by Dania. Side arm carry by Urrutia, point 6. 6 taste show. Winning game number 2, post 2. Oresti and Mansi finishing second, the 8 team. Ladouche and Portet coming in third, the 6. Urrutia and Laborde. Here are your prices for the second game. 2-8 Quinella, $23.60. 2-8 Exacta, $44.60. 2-8-6 Trifecta, $250.60. And your early daily double is a 5-2 combination, which brings back $49.20. Game 3 is next. It starts the early pick 3 this afternoon, spectacular 7 doubles match. Played to 7 points, all points doubling after the first round of play. Third game starts now in less than 7 minutes.
And we'll bring our highlight fans back in between games here at the casino at Dania Beach on a Sunday afternoon. Big football day as well, so a lot of people enjoying the games upstairs while they're watching the highlight on TV sets.
Yeah, I was wondering, how are you doing it, man? You're a big football guy.
Well, of course, when I accepted the assignment, the Dolphins weren't playing that day, scheduled to play, and we didn't even know if they were going to make the playoffs. But it's a little rough. I did record the game. But I find it with my lifestyle very hard to avoid what's happening, so I may not even be able to go back and watch it again.
Right.
But,
I thought for sure, like right around 1 o'clock, you'd be shaking in your chair, like going through some kind of withdrawal symptoms or something.
Probably the best thing is, it's like we're not lasting till 6 o'clock like the old days.
Right. You can catch the tail end of the 4 o'clock game.
Probably.
Actually, you could just walk right over here to the sports club and watch whatever you want there.
Well, you notice I haven't pulled my phone out yet. So
that's because I'm sitting here. You're waiting for me to take a break to catch up on the score.
Let's get back to the players a little bit. We talked about the styles and the solid fundamentals. I can remember in Tampa at the end that, and you mentioned this briefly off the air, so we'll bring it up on the air. You notice that a lot of points end with a great shot or a nice throw where it's nearly impossible catch. I remember at Tampa some of the late days, and these guys were older, and their future was pretty cloudy at the time. And a lot of points ended with guys throwing a right side in the upper cushion, a reverse into the overhead screen, throwing a carom on the wood, underserving. And, that's not good highlight for the fans.
Right. Well, I did mention to you also in that brief conversation we had that we are seeing a lot of overserves and a lot of underserves. And, these guys know how to serve. So the only thing I could say is that it's probably because they still haven't figured out the front wall. Every time that you go to a new fronton, and I could tell you because I played in pretty much all the frontons in the United States with the exception of Melbourne, but I played in every single other one. And it's tough. There's a lot of quirkiness in all the different courts. So, again, I'm not going to make excuses for these guys. They should be serving in the box, but you do see a lot of points end with a nice cortada or a nice two walls or a chick-chack. On occasion someone will drop or serve or hit the pad. That's normal, but for the most part, a higher percentage of the time, the points end on a nice note, on a good throw, and I think that's what makes it exciting because I'm not betting up here, and we're just watching the game for fun. But there's people out there that they want to see their team win on a good shot. And I guess if you're betting and your team loses, you don't want to see them lose on an unforced error.
Something that's very tough to explain is the nuances of making a catch, making a throw. You talk about the walls, and I just want to touch on that a bit because you played 20 years in Miami. You came here and played tournaments at Dania, and I'm sure you've thrown the ball around a little. What's the difference between Miami and Dania, first of all?
I'm going to be honest with you, and I say this in very few corners. I never really liked this court. The roof for me is too high. I like the low ceiling in Miami. It makes you throw the ball hard line drive. It doesn't give anybody an unfair advantage of just looping it over your head. But I think the main difference for me was the front wall. When you play, and for me, I've said this before on and off the broadcast. For me, Miami Alai was the best court on the planet, hands down. Some people will argue Bridgeport was better. Some people will argue Marquina's better. Okay, those are great courts. I'm not saying they're not good courts, but Miami was the best, most natural court I've ever played on. But when the ball hits the front wall at Miami Highlight, it's a solid, high-pitched crack. I mean, you could feel and hear, when you throw it you could feel, but you could hear the solidness of that front wall. Whenever I would come here to play tournaments back in the late 80s and the 90s, I always felt that this front wall was seemed hollow. It seemed like it had a hollow sound to it. Didn't have the same crack that the Miami or the World Highlight courts, because Ocala was a great court too. But I think that and the floor in 1993 or 4, when simulcasting came in, they painted this floor because it was that marbleish white, and you couldn't see the ball good on the broadcast or on the TV. So they decided to paint the floor like a little light shade of green, which was nice looking, and it would look great, and you could see the ball better. But it's horrible for the game, and it's horrible for the players. A lot of people had knee and ankle injuries, lower back injuries, because you shouldn't paint the floor. It should have a little bit of slide to it, and it was very, very coarse, and it didn't really. It had too much grip. So I remember when we used to play tournaments and we used to come to Dania, we used to bring old tennis shoes, like shoes that we could not wear at Miami, because Miami's the polar opposite, where if you're not careful, you're going to fall down there. That's a very slippery court. So those are the two main things, is the front wall and the floor, and I don't think there's anything left. The ceiling is too high.
How about the differences between the courts these kids grew up on? You got one kid from Saint Jean de Luz. You got several Spanish players. You got several French players from different areas. So they played in different courts themselves. Now they come over here. Is there a drastic difference to adjusting here?
It's funny because we were talking about that in the cage yesterday in the matinee. I was scoring the games, and I was talking to a bunch of the guys, and I think it was Zuleika and a couple of the other players that played here previously. And we were talking about, in previous seasons, mostly like 2020 and 21, our roster, our players were complaining about that the balls are dead, that the balls are old, the balls are burnt. We need to get faster balls, better balls. And they were complaining that, the game just wasn't moving fast enough, because the balls at that point were 2 or 3 years old. So the players that came here, and more specifically in the Battle of the Palace, Oleron and Echeto and Basque, and those guys that came here to play, they were saying that the court is really fast, that the balls are real fast. And that's because they're used to San Juan de Luz and Biarritz, and those courts are really slow. Those are volley courts. There's not a lot of fast movement on that court. It's a court where you'll see a lot of long volleys because the court itself is slow. I'm not talking about the balls now. But this court could be fast. I think that the balls could be a little bit faster, but I guess it's what you're used to. These guys are used to slower courts in Europe, and then they come here and they don't really notice it like the players that played here previously do.
For many years, there was such a tradition of the look of courts for people watching on the simulcast or, in the back room at Miami for years or whatever. You got the blue painted courts here. You had the red court at Calder earlier this year. And I think back to Biarritz, it has like the blocky front wall of the granite blocks. It's really interesting looking.
Beautiful court.
Any thoughts of changing anything here?
Well, quite honestly, somebody said it today in the chat that they're used to the green. They don't really care much for the blue. It was a long discussion in 2014. We touched on it a little bit earlier in the season. How when the court was green, it was something that wasn't going to show up well on a broadcast if we were like this season upgrading the equipment. We had actually in 2014, late 14, we had a color specialist come out and tell us, advise on what color the court should be so the ball would be seen the best on a broadcast. And, the U.S. Open and a lot of these tennis courts now, they're going to blue courts because that's the best color to use. And that's how the blue court came about. I was reluctant to change the color because again, a traditionalist, I like the green. I think that the green is a staple. Now there's talk about painting the court black for next year. I don't know how I feel about that, because once you paint the court, there's no going back, so that's probably a discussion that we're going to have later on, probably February or March, as well as everything else. And there's a couple of questions in the chat, but we kind of ran out of time, so we'll get to some of these questions the next time, and we'll address those.
Okay, let's get underway. Game 3 coming up. It starts at pick 3. This is game 3 this afternoon. It is double spectacular 7 scoring, and it starts the pick 3. Serving and wearing red in post 1, Aaron and Mancy. Receiving in blue, post 2, Beatrice and Portet. There's the serve by Aaron, and game 3 is on. Clips the sidewall. Would it stay on the court or would it land on the wood? The latter is the case. Out of play, and it's point to the 1. White shirts, post 3. Going out again, Danielle. It's out of play, point 1. 1 serves to 4. Wearing the green shirts, that's Echeverry and Laborde. That sails off the court, lands on the wood, point to the 4. And 4 serving the 5 in the black shirts. That's Urrutia and Arta.
Point 4. 4 now serving to 6. They wear gold. It is Uresti and Mandiola. Over the shoulder catch, a beautiful play there by Oyenart, by Laborde. And that one's tipped, and out of the cesta, point to 4. 4 serving to 7, wearing brown, it's Leduc and Atan. Plays the left side rebote to the inside, and it's grabbed there by Laborde. Running catch on the Dejada by Leduc. Now he moves in. He'll play Dejada with the right side, and that will score. Excellent play, and it's point to 7. Post 8 in purple, completing round 1. Lalu and Oyenard. Leduc on the outside of the court. Strong throw into the side wall, but perfect positioning there by Oyenard. Off the back wall it comes. Here's the rebote by Lalu. Again, looking for that Chula, but it comes out and Lalu saves it. Leduc, strong throw, but right to the center of the court where Oyenard was waiting. There's a carom. Leduc out there, leaps and grabs it on the wood. Driving to the inside, and again, the positioning by Oyenard is excellent. And that one's out of the cesta, scored for the 8. 8 serving to post 2. Back on the court, it's Benatrice and Portet. Running in to grab it is Lalu. Strong reverse, and it's off the cesta. Excellent play, point 8. And now the 8 team will serve to post 3. Goanaga and Danell. Fall down rebote save, goes to the inside and cut off there by Lalou. And that is tipped in the back corner, scored for the 8. So just like that, it's now possible game point for the 8 team. Lalou and Oyonard looking for the perfect game here. Trying to stop them will be post 1. Aaron and Mancy. Lalou with a forehand. Now the scoop on the forehand this time by Lalou, and his strong throw is hauled in by Atine. Make that Mancy. Too high on the rebote try by Lalou, and one gets a double. So that keeps the game alive, and one serves now to post 5. Urrutia and Arta. Point of the 1. Six points, possible game point for the 1, serving out of post 6. Uresti and Mandiola. Tough play, recovery there by Aaron. And an excellent catch on the backhand by Mandiola. And 2 bounces, point of 6. 6 will serve to the 4. That's Echeberry and Laborde. Tejada to the inside by Echeberry. Point 4. And the 14 with 5 points now possible game point for them. They'll serve to the 7, LaDouche and Atine. Tejada off the serve, running hard is Echeverry. He got there, but when he did, he could not hang on to it. And it's point to the 7. Seven to 2. That is Benatrice and Portet. Too low with the cortada into the pad, point 2. And 2 will serve to the returning 3 team. That's Goenaga and Danielle. Scooping a backhand at the sidewall. Now the catch in the backcourt by Danielle. That heads outside, but it will stay on the court, and it's point 3. 3 serving to the returning 8 team. They picked up 5 points the first time around, so it is possible game point for the receiving 8. That is Lalou and Oyenard. Possible game point for the receiving 8 team. Catch on the serve by Lalou. Aggressive reverse. Comes low off the back wall. Nice play on the backhand by Danielle. Tough play, and it spins out of the cesta as a result. Point and game, post 8. 1 takes second, post 4, finishing third. Winning game number 3, post 8, Lalou and Oyenard. Finishing second, the 1 team, Aaron and Mancy. Coming in third, post 4, Echeverry and Laborde. Your Quinella is 1-8, the exacta is 8-1, and the trifecta 8-1-4. Prices up on the board now. $47.20 is the return on the 1-8 Quinella. The 8-1 exacta is $90.40. 8-1-4 trifecta, a nice $709.60. Game number 4 is up next. Superfecta game, first one of the afternoon. Spectacular 9 scoring in game number 4. And post time now is 7 minutes away.
Again, welcome to our highlight fans watching on YouTube and this afternoon's performance. And this is the first time I've been back here, Benny, in about 6 weeks.
Yeah, let's go ahead and get that. That might be... apparently not important.
But anyway, just the fact of that I haven't seen these guys for a few weeks. I know that you've kind of developed a little bit of a niche system, top to bottom. I think we all knew that John Zulaika was the best player here when the season started. Of course, Arietta, big veteran that I'm sure has played well, and a couple other guys that are back from the regular roster of years past. But who's impressed you the most out of these early guys?
Well, I mean, it's quite obvious Lalou is top of his game, and he's always in the chat. They're always talking about him in the chat. When I walk out there, a lot of people are always saying that he's a strong player, and he does. And someone in the chat just now said that he makes it look effortless. But I think he's a hair better than the rest of the crew that came this year for the first time. But there's also a lot of guys that statistically aren't doing well and maybe are not winning as many games as everybody would like them to. But they're also really good players. I mean, some of the younger guys, Benetrix and Aresti, I mean, they still are making like rookie mistakes out there, but they're playing really well. And I said this before, and I said it, there's a kid like Mandiola and Mancy. I mean, these guys have a lot of room to grow. They're young. They just started playing this system. It's hard to stay confident in a Canella system. But they have what I said before, the foundation. They have a really good, a lot of room for growth. So at the top of the list, it would probably be, Leduc and maybe Oyonard and then the mid-range guys are the guys I just mentioned, like Mancy and Atine and Atine again. He's really good, but he's really young, so he still has to learn because I was talking to Dave off the air the other day, and I said that I see a lot of these guys like new pilots. Like, you could study for the pilot's license, but until you get up in a plane, that's when you really learn. And these guys are the same thing. Like, they've practiced and they've played at home and they've watched Dania Alai over the internet, but now they're here. Now they're getting their flying time. And this is what's important for them to get to the next step.
Speaking of the players being similar to me, who has not seen a lot of action from these guys, but one thing I noticed is that I can't pick out one guy that I think that throws much harder than the others. I mean, I'm sitting with a guy who is one of the strongest forehands in the game in Benny. Think of backcourters like Leaf and Lordway and famous guys like that, and guys who could rip the reverse like Ebon, who set the Guinness World Records here last season. Do you see one guy that throws harder than everybody else?
I think they all pretty much throw hard. I think that what sticks out more is the guys that don't throw hard. There's a couple of guys that catch really well, Laborde being one of them. He's a great defender, but he's not real strong. Like, he's not a guy that's hitting the back wall all the time. But he defends real good, and he catches, and that keeps him in the game. But no, we were watching. We saw Lalou caught a serve, and he ripped a low backhand that actually came out too much. Urrutia and all of them, they all throw pretty hard. So no, I don't think that there's anybody that stands out for throwing harder than the other. But I will say this, that you see a guy like Etcheberry, and he throws his costal. And I mentioned this a couple weeks ago. Some people might not have heard me say it, but you look back at a guy like Joey. Joey didn't really throw it hard. He was more interested in marking the side wall, front wall, bounce out, rather than throwing it hard. Because if you mark it good, you don't have to throw it hard. But this kid, like, he focuses on both throwing it hard, and obviously when it's in, he marks it well. But being able to do that is kind of a luxury, because sometimes when you try to throw it that hard, you lose a little bit of the control.
And catching the ball sometimes is easier on a hard throw because you just react. It's right at you.
Yeah.
You know that guys running to try to get a Dejada sometimes drop a ball, and people in the audience really don't know. They'd say, oh, wow, he dropped that on purpose.
Yeah, it is. It is definitely harder to catch the slower ball, or the ball that's coming to you slower, rather than a harder ball. Harder ball, when they throw like a hard cortada, you see sometimes a guy make a great catch on a hard cortada, and you're like, wow, that was a great catch. It was a great catch, but it's actually easier to catch than somebody just laying a soft cortada rolling in, coming off the side wall, because that ball is not going to stop itself in the basket. It's going to hit the basket, and if you don't stop it, it's going to bounce out.
Is there certain weight training that you can do to make yourself throw harder? I'm kind of wondering about that.
No, I don't think so. I think actually, these days, in all sports, health and nutrition and fitness and all that come into play. But if you think back in the olden days, and I'm not even going back that far, I would say even the 70s, 80s, the natural players were not strong guys. And as a matter of fact, for a very long time, there was the argument that you shouldn't lift weights if you're a highlight player. That is the worst thing they could do, because it tightens your muscles, and you have to be more of a ballerina type, maybe do yoga or calisthenics than be in the gym lifting weights. So I don't think there is any kind of weight training that you could do to throw harder. It's all technique, actually, how you position the ball before you throw it, and how you release the ball and how you make it roll out of the basket.
I remember the first games I did, and it was early in the season. I recognized Vicente as being one of the good young players. He's second in wins right now.
Yes.
You mentioned Mancy at that time, and I hadn't really noticed that, but I see he's in the top 5. How important is it to these guys to win an overall wins title here in this very short season?
Well, there is no overall wins title, and there's no, I mean, I know in there's the standings for singles and doubles, but that's an error. We already cleared that up, and this was printed a couple of days ago. But there is no award or prize money for most wins or backcourt champion like there used to be. This is the main focus is on the tournament and making it, qualifying for the partidos and working your way into the finals and winning the tournament or the championship that way. So there's an importance because it's a pride factor of having a good record, but it's insignificant in the sense of winning a championship.
Not like the old days where it was everything.
No, and that unfortunately it takes away a little bit of the pressure of the day-to-day for a lot of these guys that have already been eliminated, but you still see them playing hard and they're still trying to win, and thus far it hasn't really affected the play.
That leads us to your tournament that you're doing now. We'll come back and talk about that, what's happening in the partidos and how they've gone so far. But let's move on. We're starting Game 4. It's our Superfecta game. So thanks for being with us this afternoon.
This is game number 4 this afternoon. Superfecta game, spectacular 9 scoring. Serving and wearing red in post 1, Goanaga and Portet. Receiving in blue post 2, Lalu and Mandiola. That's how to play up in the sidewall, point of the 1. Wearing white in post 3, here is Uresti and Arta. White 3. There's a rebote to the inside by Urrutia. Point three. 3 serving to 5. They wear black. It's LaDuche and Daniel. Point to post 5. LaDuche plays the rebote, and that's out of the cesta of Echeverry. Point of the 5. Post 7, they wear brown. It's Benatrice and Laborde. Point 5. Five will serve to 8 in purple. Aaron and a time. And that's tipped off the cesta. Point 8. Points are now worth double. Don't forget it takes 9 points to win this superfecta game. And returning to receive post 2, Lalu and Mandiola. And that one's out of play. Score for the 2. 2 serving to post 1, Goanaga and Portet. Overhead screen, 1-1. So the 1 team will serve to post 4. Urrutia and Oyenard. Rebote save, keeps the point alive. Now center of the court. Urrutia, strong forehand throw, and a catch in the backhand by Goanaga. Moving up to get it on the run is Portet. His throw sails off the court though. Point 4. It's in the cushion. Point of 4. Four will serve to post 6. That is Echeberry and Mancy. And that one's out. Point 6. 6 will serve to the returning 7 team. Benatrice and Laborde. There's the carom run down on the outside by Echeberry, and his Cortada return is out of the cesta. Point of the 6. 6 team. Now with 4 points, still serve to post 5, Leduc and Danelle. Don't forget it takes 9 to win this superfecta game. Catch in the backhand in the back corner by Danelle. This time he cannot hang on. 6 will get a pair. They have 6 now, and they'll serve to post 8. Aaron and Atan. Forehand catch in the front court by Echeberry. Strong throw, and it's pulled down by Atan. And again, that clips the sidewall, but stays on the court, and 6 will get 2 more. Eight points, possible game point for the 6 team. Echeberry and Mancy, they will serve to post 2. Lalu and Mandiola. That's an overserve. Point of the 2. And the 2 team will serve to post 1, Goanaga and Portet. Cortada to the inside. Excellent shot by Mandiola. 2 gets another pair. Lifted too high into the upper cushion by Arta, so score it for the 2. Two team now with 8. Possible game point for Lalu and Mandiola. Trying to stop them will be the 4 team, Urrutia and Oyanar. That is into the cushion. It is point of game to post 2. The 6 team will finish second. 4 will take third. Playoff now for quad position. 5-7 to 1. This is for 4th place to complete the superfecta. Point in quad, post 1. 2-6-4-1, your order finish here in the 4th game this afternoon. Winning game 4 this afternoon, post 2, Lalu and Mandiola finishing second, post 6, Echeverria and Mansi coming in third. The 4 team, Urrutia and Oyanard taking 4th to 1, Goanaga and Portet. Quinella 2-6, the exacta 2-6, the trifecta 2-6-4, and the supers 2-6-4-1. Prices, 2-6 Quinella, 26.80. The 2-6 exacta, $83. 2-6-4 trifecta, $1,102.80. And the super, 2-6-4-1, $588 even. Game number 5 is up next. Spectacular 7 singles match, played to 7 points, all points doubling after the first round of play. Make your selections, place your bets now on game number 5, post time. Is in less than 5 minutes.
And we're back here in between games here in Dania's Matinee this afternoon, the Casino at Dania Beach on a Sunday. Benny returning from the TV room, so we got started a little bit late this game in between games here, but let's comment on that a little bit, Benny. The TV broadcast and the differing things. People commented on the site they were disappointed where there weren't enough likes for them, that
Right.
people weren't clicking that little thumbs up button.
Yeah.
But I do notice we have well over 100 people watching the game, which
Yes.
is way more than I ever remember when the time I was here.
Right. Well, I mean, I'm not sure who it was. It was, I think, JBTV or something like that said that. It's true. The more likes we get, the more subscriptions we have, the more attractive it is for either sponsorships or just other people to watch. Things go viral, and that's basically by people liking, subscribing, and maybe sharing your videos. So that would help us tremendously. It is. I mean, look, I said it a couple times before, but it is a little disappointing that we have 100 and some people watching and we have 20 likes or 15 likes. That doesn't mean that people dislike you. I mean, it just means that they're not pushing the like button, which I don't know. I mean, I guess I don't know. I'm hoping they're not sending a message. But yeah, it would help out, and the broadcast. I think I definitely I acknowledge that the quality before was not there. The software and all the other hardware that we were using last year was old, and it was just not. They had no capabilities. And I mentioned it a little bit last week, that this software is really high tech, has a lot of capabilities. I mean, we could do interviews with other people off site, very much like a Zoom call. We could do. We're playing around with the instant replay. I'm trying to figure out how to put our radar gun on there so we could display the speed of the ball. So there's a lot of things that can be done. But again, we're scratching the surface. I'm trying to learn it the best I can. Our team is learning it the best they can, and plenty of room for growth with this new system.
Any interest because of Magic City being on ESPN a little bit on some of their ESPN3 broadcasts and that sort of thing? You would. We've been angry for years that they can put cornhole on there, but they can't put highlight on.
Right. I mean, yeah. There's my hopes has always been. I mean, you know me, Dave. You've known me for a long time. I'm very hopeful, very positive, very optimistic. And so I'm always hoping that somebody in a position to say, hey, this is really cool, man. Let's take it to another level, would step up and be like our godfather, and just say, hey, look, I want to adopt this sport because it's so beautiful and perfect. And anybody that watches what we do here, and even if you watch the Magic City broadcast, we are really kind of doing minimal stuff as far as professional sports go. I mean, there is a lot of capabilities with these bigger broadcasts. I mean, I won't compare us to the NFL because that's really over the top. But camera angles and just 4 or 5 techs working on it, the broadcast producers. I mean, we're a small team. We're a team of 2, and when I go down there 3, and when you're up here announcing 4, that's it. That's the team. And these other sports are working with a lot more. So and somebody touched in the chat a little earlier about camera angles and things like that. And, obviously I've said this before, I'm always working with a budget, and the budget this time around didn't allow for more cameras. I mean, we're not talking a lot of money, but we're talking another $9,000 or $12,000 to get, 2 or 3 more cameras and put them out on the court, maybe one in the lower pad, maybe one in the cage. It's all been talked about. It's all been priced out, and we're always looking to improve. We just have to find the right time to put it into the budget.
One quick improvement before we get to the next game is the instant replay. There was a great shot in the last game, Goanaga running around to try to take a cortada on the right side, and it was refreshing to see that and how interesting that looked.
Yeah, and again, it's something that we're still kind of learning. There's hardware that makes it easier to do that on the software. We don't have that right now, so everything is either pushing a button or a mouse or clicking, and we're doing 2 or 3 things at a time. So we're working on it. We're working on it, and hopefully we'll nail it down where it'll be a part of our programming every day.
Okay, that was a little shorter segment. We'll be back after this next game and get into some of the tournament news and what's going on here elsewhere during the week. We'll be back after Game 5.
Game number 5 is singles this afternoon. Spectacular 7 scoring. Serving and wearing red in post 1, Arietta. Receiving in blue post 2, Goanaga. And now it sails off the court. First point goes to the 1. Wearing white in post 3 is Leduc. Point 1. Post 4 wearing the green shirt. And that is Vicente. Point 5. Point 4. Four will serve to 5, wearing the black shirt, Uresti. Service winner, point 4. Post 6 in the gold shirt, that is Aaron. Here's a 2-all by Vicente, and it scores. Nice shot, point 4. 4 serving to 7 and Brown, Iturbide. That's out of play. Point of 7. That rebote sails out of the cesta into the overhead screen. Point 8. Points are worth double now. Here's the 2, Goanaga. Diving rebote saved by Arrutia on the outside. Goanaga pulls it down. He'll send it to the back corner. A bit too hard, though. Comes out, and the rebote made by Urrutia. That one's tipped off the cesta. 8 with a double. Eight serving to 3. LaDouche. Right down the sidewall and caught by LaDouche. There's a rebote center of the court by Urrutia, and LaDouche has it. He'll throw Tejada. Moving up to get it is Urrutia. And he will return his own Tejada. 28. 5 points now, possible game point. Urrutia, post 8, looking for the perfect game here. He'll serve the post 1. Arrieta. And that spins out of the tip of the cesta. It is point and game. Post 8, a perfect game for Urrutia. 4 is second, 1 is third. Winning game 5, post 8, a perfect game for Urrutia. Finishing second, post 4, Vicente. Coming in third, post 1, Arrieta. Quinella 4-8, returning $26 even. The 8-4 exact to $35. 8-4-1 try, $254.80. And your pick 3, early pick 3, is an 8-2-8 combo, returning $657.40. The 6th is up next. It starts the pick 3. Spectacular. 7 scoring in game number 6. Post time 6 minutes away now.
And here we are getting ready for game 6 here at the Sunday matinee at Dania Beach Alai. And probably what Benny wanted to talk about from the very beginning, we'll get to talk about now. And that is your tournament concept. What's happened so far? I know that in the past, some of the tournaments you've had, there's been kind of some qualifying and then determining the teams. I think it's fairly similar to that, but we're in the Partido section now. Talk about from the very beginning, and how it's worked out as far as your expectations.
Well, obviously, I'm no different than any other fan that is watching watching it all develop. So when we came in the beginning of December, everybody was kind of focusing on, like, who are these guys? I mean, I never heard of them. Where's this guy? Where's that guy? What happened to him? So it took a little bit of time for the fans, the people, to get used to the new players, the new faces, the new styles. Who do I bet? And then, like, right around the third week of December, maybe even a little sooner than that, end of the second week of December, people started, picking their favorites. Like, I like this guy. I like this guy. This guy has a nice this. And they, they started getting a little more familiar. The pool started growing a little bit. And the players, they're still playing hard, but there was a lot to play for then because everybody had a chance to qualify for the Partidos. And, we saw that the fans and it started coming out live a little bit more in the chat and also in all the discussion boards and Facebook and things like that. started reading how people were planning trips here. Some people have already been, and some people are planning trips for later on towards the end of the tournament. But I think all in all, I can tell you, I'm happy of the way things have turned out. I'm happy that the tournament is drawing some excitement. I think it's a combination of like people being happy that we're back, people being happy that the play is decent, and people kind of pushing for somebody now, whereas before they were just, again, getting to know players. Now everybody has a favorite. Some people love Zulaika. Some people like Leduc. They really want that in the finals. But again, we saw it this past weekend where we had what everybody thought was an upset. So I still think that there's some great highlight to be played, and I look forward to to these partidos that are coming up next week, because it's really going to set the tone for the last weekend. We got Dave on the phone here. Was that important?
Yeah, well, I think it's important. Romo just called to tell us that Waristi is in the house.
Oh, how nice. Special guest. He comes up in the chat all the time. Waristi and Dave Lamont talks about him all the time because he is a big fan of his. So it's nice. So what does he want? A little shout out to him?
Well, they said he might bring him out on the court just to say hello to the people.
Oh, that would be
we'll
nice.
Try to do that. Keep an
I
eye
would
on
suggest
that
that he maybe leads the march out. That would be nice to have him come out. I don't know if he would want to, but I think that would be really nice. For those who don't know, but I'm sure everybody knows, that Waristi was a star player here back in the 70s.
The star player.
The star player. He was nicknamed Hollywood, a very flashy guy, very fiery in the sense of his play and his personality. And I met him early in my career when he was still in Miami, and he used to get that crowd on the feet on a Friday or Saturday night. He would, either with his play or his antics after the point, but they loved him there. And then he eventually ended up coming here and bringing his show to Dania.
Yeah, he was known to kick a helmet once in a while, but I always remember that one shot where he was running up the wood to try to get to a remate and didn't quite get it and pulled his helmet off and shrugged himself. But he actually was a bartender, I guess, in South Florida, and a lot of people still talk about him all the time here. I mean, we had Arriaga in a more recent time that was a star, but he truly was the star of the late 70s and early 80s.
Yeah, I just got a text that he's upstairs visiting with the basket maker, which Chabelo's been here since the beginning of time almost. So he's up there talking with him. So maybe we'll see him pop his head out onto the court later on and wave to the fans. I don't know that a lot of the people here will recognize or know him, but I hope so. He's, again, definitely one of the players. Actually, I got a message a couple of weeks back saying that if we were considering retiring jerseys, that we should consider, I believe he wore number 30, consider retiring his jersey because he was one of those players.
The Twister, they called him.
I remember Hollywood. I remember them calling him Hollywood because every time he came on the court, it was a show.
Yeah, for sure. It's fun to see a bunch of guys. Of course, at the end of last season, before we closed about a year ago in November, a bunch of guys showed up the last week, and you talk about Zulaika, and his father came to town from Spain, which writes a blog on there.
Yeah.
It's great to see him, his uncle that played here and in Tampa. Just to see all those guys, and then some of the American guys came down too, JJ and Jackie and a few people like that.
Somebody
as well.
was talking about James from Hartford. He was here also towards the end of last season, I believe, or maybe it was a little bit before we closed. But he was out here, and I've known James since we were kids. Never really played with him or against him. He was always up in the Northeast, and I was always down in Miami. But I knew him from before we both turned pro. We practiced together a bunch of times.
What's been the response of former players to this roster?
Well, I mean, I've run into a few out in the audience, and they're always saying that it's good, and everybody knows somebody that's a small highlight community. So last week we had like Recalde and Garo and some of the players that I played with in Miami, Iruta. They were out here, and they were all praising the players, and they obviously they know Atine, so they know Atine's son, and there's a connection with everybody. So I think all in all, the players that played here before are just happy to see that we're somehow, some way continuing to play here in Dania.
We're holding on, and that credit, a lot of that credit, almost probably 90% of that credit goes to you.
Well, I appreciate it, but the other day somebody came up to me and said, "Thank you for what you're doing." I'm doing it. I did it for you, not for me. I'm doing it for the people, and I'm glad everybody's enjoying it. That's I say it all the time. I couldn't be more appreciative for the support.
Well, let's get to watch some more of it. Game 6 coming up here, starting our late pick 3 this afternoon. This is game number 6. It starts the pick 3 this afternoon. Serving wearing red in post 1, Zuleika and Danelle. Receiving in blue post 2, Echeberry and Arta. Echeberry with a Dejada. 1-2. 2 now serving, 2 post 3. They wear the white shirts. It's Arieta and Laborde. That is on the wood. It's point to the 3. Point 3.
Post 5 wearing black, that's Benatrice and Urbieta. That spins out of the cesta in the back corner, and 3 takes another. Post 6 in goal, that's Laduch and Bilo. That spins out of the cesta of Laborde, point 6. One to 6. Post 8 wearing purple, it's Iturbide and Mendiola. Running it down, but unable to hang on is Leduc, and it's point to the 8. Excellent catch on the cortada by Iturbide. Two bounces before the backhand catch. It's point to post 8. And 2 gets a pair. In the front court, there's the catch by Vicente, and again, he'll move in to take it. Left side this time. And his 2-wall is a winner. Point 4. 4 serving to the 3 team. That's Arrieta and Laborde. Check that, the 5 team, I should say. It is Benatrice and Urbieta. Forehand carom, caught on the backhand by Vicente, and that is off the cesta of Urbieta. Scored for the 4 team. Four serving to the returning 3, that's Arrieta and Laborde. Porta the inside, that's the winner, point 3. Pointing game, post 3. Post 4 finishes second. Show point now, 8 serving to post 2. Ramate winner by Iturbide. It is point and show, post 8. Winning game number 6, post 3. Arrieta and Leduc finishing second, post 4. Vicente and Atine coming in third, post 8. Iturbide and Mandiola. Quinella 3-4. Gets back $43.40. The 3-4 exacta $59.80. 3-4-8 try, $5.74 even. Game number 7 is up next. It is a superfecta game, spectacular 9 scoring. Post time now for game number 7. Is in less than 6 minutes. This is game number 7. It is a superfecta game played with spectacular 9 scoring. Serving wearing red, post 1, Oresti and Bailo. Receiving in blue, post 2, Arietta and Time. That is off the court. It's point to the 1. White shirts post 3. Here's Vicente and Mansi. Point 1. Iturbide and Portet. Wear green, post 4. Point to the 4. On the run, but off his cesta is Portet. And it's point 5. 5 will serve to 6 in the gold shirts. And Goenaga and Urbieta. Now the catch there in the backcourt by Urbieta. Forehand, Rebote, Zulaika. On the run, nice play, Goenaga. His carom, though, hits the wood. It's point to the 5. 5 with 2 points now, serving to post 7. They wear brown. It's Urrutia and Oyenart. There's Robote back to the inside of the court. Now moving up for the reverse is Mandiola. Point 5. 3 straight for Zulaika and Mandiola, post 5. They'll serve now to the 8 team in purple, Echeverry and Arta. And that stays on the court and scores. Point 2. Check that, point 8. So 8 will try to turn the corner now as they serve to post 2. Arietta and a time. Don't forget it takes 9 to win this superfecta game. Carom by Arietta. Point 2. 2 will serve. To the 3 team now, it's Vicente and Mansi. Point 3. Scooped on the backhand by Bilo. One. Beautiful play on the outside by Oresti. Now the play in the backcourt by Portet keeps the point alive. Scooped on the forehand. Excellent play, Oresti. Bailo, left side, rebote. Center of the court, and the play by Portet. Beautiful running catch by Oresti, playing outstanding. Iturbide to the inside. Bailo moves up. He has it on the reverse. That stays on the court and scores its point to the one. One serving now to post six. Goanaga and Urbieta. Over serve, point six. And here's the seven now. Urrutia and Oyenart. Now the reverse by Urbieta. Caught in the backcourt by Oyenart. And that's off the tip of the cesta, score for the six. 6 serving to 5. They're back now. With 3 points. It's Zulaika and Mandiola. Zulaika makes the rebote save. Now moving in. Goanaga. Cortada. Caught by Zulaika. And he launches the forehand carom to score. Point 5. Strong throw to the inside, Mandiola. And just getting out of the way was Arta. But it is off his cesta, and point goes to the 5. That's 7 points now for the 5 team. Zulaika and Mandiola, they'll serve. To post 2, Arieta Natan. Very tough rebote save there by Zulaika. Arieta now on the offensive with a cortada. And a great grab on the left by Zulaika. That's out of the cesta, and it's pointing game post 5. One is second. 6 takes third. This is quad point now. 3-7-2 for quad position. Saved by Arieta. And that's hooked wide of the front wall. It's punting quad, post 3. Five, 1, 6, 3, your order finish here in game number 7. Game 7, your winners, the 5 team of Zulaika and Mandiola. Finishing second, post 1, Arieta and Natan. Coming in third, or check that, Uresti and Bailo. Coming in third, post 6, Goanaga and Urbieta. And finishing fourth, the 3 team, Vicente and Mansi. Your Quinella is 1-5, your Exacta 5-1, Trifecta 5-1-6, Super 5-1-6-3. And your price is 1-5 Quinella 2660, 5-1 Exacta 8940. Trifecta 516, $368.40. And the Superfecta 516-3, $910 even on the $1 ticket. 2 more games left in this afternoon's performance. Game 8 is up next. It is the start of the late daily double. Spectacular 7 scoring in game number 8, and post time is in 6 minutes.
Okay, we're back in between games here. Big Dave Lemon and Benny Bueno. And just talking highlight like we've always done for the last 22 years, I think it's been. 23 years, something like that.
I think our show was 2000, 2001.
Yeah,
right
well,
around
actually,
there.
I think it started at the end, might have started at the end of 99 and then went to 2001. It was about 2 full years, really. I think we did about 104 shows. They were every Sunday. I still have most of them on tape somewhere.
Yeah, me too. I have a bin full of, because Casey, our great helper out there in the broadcast those days, he would make us a copy
Always
every
made
week.
us copies.
Every
week. And then VHS tapes went out of style.
Yeah.
And I have transferred a lot of them onto some of the shows, onto some DVDs that I made.
Yeah.
Anyway, we always had fun doing that, and just, I get paid for coming in and shooting the breeze.
I mean, we've done it for free before, so what's better than getting paid to come in and catch up? Here in the chat, we were talking earlier about the court and the courts and all the different dimensions and things like that. And someone mentioned that I don't really care much for the high screen, which is true. I mean, obviously we have a high screen here, so I have accepted it. Incoming. I have accepted the high screen, and yeah, I just think it gives people or back quarters that are not as strong an unfair advantage. The screen in Miami was right above the red pad, so you couldn't really lift. You had to throw a hard line drive if you wanted to hit the back wall. So I thought that was always better. But, most of the courts, Orlando, I remember Milford, here in Dania, a lot of the professional courts have high ceilings. And I think not the question, but the comment was more of like, what are the courts in the Basque Country like? And I've been to a few over there. And as far as I remember, Guernica is the one where I played in the most. The screen is high. Can't remember Marquine and the other ones. I think I have yet to see a court with the screen right on the red line like it was in Miami. Even the other World Highlight courts like Fort Pierce and Ocala had a little bit of pitch to it where, towards the side wall it was lower than where it was at the screen. So it was kind of on an angle, but Miami being the lowest. And then someone much earlier asked about the outdoor courts in the Basque Country if they had screens. And most of the ones I've seen don't have screens. Most of them are just 3 walls in the middle of a plaza, and just outdoors.
Is there still a lot of play on those, or do they sit like white elephants in the middle of a town?
I don't know. I think they get a lot of play, and I think that the courts are there, and maybe not high Alai per se, but a lot of there's handball is very popular over there. Obviously, all you need is a ball. Also, different modalities with paddles and wooden paddles, and so I would say that they do get play, but maybe not with a cesta and a pelota like other ones. And I wanted to touch real quickly on a format that years ago I tried to see if there was a possibility of bringing here to the United States, and it is with a highlight cesta and a similar ball, which is Plaza Libre. Plaza Libre is one wall, and it's it's got stands on each left and right side, and then there is no back wall, but there is an out of bounds about 200 or maybe 220 feet from the front wall, which is a line, and you could throw it as far as you can, and as long as it doesn't go beyond that out of bounds line, it's in place. So a lot of times when you watch
on the fly,
on the fly. So a lot of times you see triples. You see a backcourt guy that's literally standing about 220 feet away from the front wall, and then the other 2 partners play up, one in the middle and one very close.
if you have people on both sides, does that take away caroms out of the game?
Yeah, there is no side wall and there is no side screen. So in other words, it's one wall, and it's picture a tennis court but much longer with one of the baselines having a wall. That's what it's like. There's no net, there's no side wall, there's no upper screen. I mean, you could literally throw the ball as far as you can.
Well, that leads me to the topic of caroms and what we call the lucky crack shot.
Yeah.
Of course, Joey revolutionized the game with his beautiful left backhand remate, and a lot of guys like Assis with a great right side caroms. You had an unbelievable carom that was to shoot up high into the back.
My favorite shot. My favorite shot was without a doubt the right side carom.
But one of the shots that is kind of people apologize right out on the court for it, and that's when you throw a reverse that clips the sidewall, flies off. Usually it'll fly off the court and land out of bounds, so it's a bad throw.
Right.
But sometimes it'll stay on the court and score for you.
Right.
And there's actually some people who occasionally use it as a weapon.
Yeah, actually there was some chit-chat about it tonight and yesterday as well. Urbieta actually purposely threw one yesterday in the performance. He caught a ball probably around the 11 and a half line. All the players were in towards the middle of the court, and he threw a low 2 walls left side, which hit the side wall, hit the front wall, landed in, and nobody could get to it. That's not a shot that's easy to throw. That's a tough throw. And 9 out of 10 times the front quarter is going to be there for it. He got lucky and got it in. But, 9 out of 10 times when you throw that shot, it's an accident. You don't mean to clip the side wall. And if some people actually have – here's the thing. If you're not a big, strong back quarter, right, that is going for the chula, and you throw the ball with your left side and it clips the side wall, there's a good chance that you don't throw hard enough for it to reach the wood. So those are a lot of times. Dzek used to throw it all the time because he was a smaller, not real strong backcourter. And whenever he clipped, it usually stayed on the court.
When it stays on, is it considered bad manners?
Not bad manners, but some people, oddly enough, feel like they need to apologize for everybody for throwing it because it's not something that you threw on purpose, and sometimes not proud that you threw it.
Well, you mentioned that Bilo lost his partido on the final 2 points when two of those shots scored against him.
Yeah.
This last game, it happened in the game where he won on a point like that.
Right.
And the player he was playing, Portet, ripped his helmet off and was very angry.
Yeah, because again, when you lose to that shot, you know that you lost on a mistake throw. So yeah, it's not really, and they use it a lot on other courts because it's more effective some other places. But here, I would tend to stay away from it if I was a backcourter.
Okay, well, we hope we don't see too many of them in this game. It's game number 8. We got 2 games left today, and so we'll be back over this game to kind of close things out. Appreciate you being with us today. Good luck with your bets, and we'll be back after this game. This is game 8. This is game 8. It is a spectacular 7 doubles match. Serving wearing red in post 1, Urrutia and Oyenard. Receiving in blue post 2, Vicente and Urbieta. Point of the 2. Wearing white in post 3, Zuleika and Mandiola. Point 3. Three now serving, 2 post 4, wearing the green shirts. It is Lelouch and Bilo. Beautiful cortada there by Zuleika. Point to post 3.
It's an over serve, point 5. And 5 serving now to post 6. Wearing gold, it's Lalu and Arta. Letting it come out and playing right to the forehand rebote of Iturbide. And that time it's off the cesta. Point 6. Now 6 will serve to 7. In the brown shirts, it's Uresti and Dania. Point 7. And 7 serves to 8 in the purple shirts, completing round 1. It's Arietta and Laborde. Moving up to get the short serve was Danelle. Arietta on the backhand. Arietta comes over the top. And that's tipped by Uresti. Score it for the A team. And all points scored are now worth double. Back in the court is Zawan, Ivrutia, and Oyenard. One. One now serving to the 2 team. It is Vicente and Urbieta. Costado lands on the wood. It's point of the one. And that's out of play. It's point of the 4. And 4 will serve to 3, Zuleika and Mandiola. And 4 gets 2 more. 4 serving now to post 5. Iturbide and Portet. Leaping at the sidewall and making a great catch. Sportet. Iturbide, left side rebote, big bounce cut off by Leduc. Strong throw to the inside, and there to make the play is Portet. Bote to the inside. Here's Leduc climbing the sidewall. Nice play. And a rebote dug out in the backcourt by Portet. Again, the catch by Portet. Now the short hop pickup by Bilo on the run. Iturbide on the reverse this time. Back corner and Bilo right there. Inside placement, Leduc cutting over. He cannot hang on though, and it's point to the 5. Low hard one by Portet. Lands on the court and scores, point 5. Five points now for the 5 team. Iturbide and Portet, possible game point. They'll serve to the 7. That's Oresti and Dania. Now Iturbide drives the reverse, center of the court, moving in to take it forehand. Now the throw by Portet. Big bounce, pulled down by Uresti. This time, Iturbide plays the rebote, but it escapes from the cesta and into the side screen. Point 7. And 7 now serving to the 8 team. It's Arieta and Laborde. It's an overserve. Point to post 8. 8 now serving to 2. Vicente and Urbieta. That reverse too high into the upper cushion. Score for the 8. Running catch on the outside, making the play is Laborde. Now Arieta will play the rebote back to the inside. And that lands on the wood. It is point and game to post 8. Five finishing second. This is now show point. 4 serving to 1 for show. Remate is caught on the outside by Lelouch. And that kicks out sideways from the back corner. Interesting shot there. Point at show. Post 4. 8-5-4 is your order finish here in the final game. Check that, the penultimate game, final game up next. Winning game 8, post 8. Arieta Laborde finishing second, post 5. Iturbide and Portet coming in third, post 4. Laduch and Bilo. Quinella 5-8, exact 8-5, and the try 8-5-4. Here are your prices. 5-8 Quinella 139.40. 8-5 exacta 111.40. 8-5-4 trifecta 401.20. And the pick 3 was a 3-5-8 combination. 665.20 for 3 out of 3. Now the final game up next, game 9. Spectacular 7 singles match. Spectacular 9 singles match. Superfecta game, game 9, the final game of the day. Post time now is in 6 minutes.
And we were talking about the feeder system in the in between while we were on the game doing the game off air. It was kind of answered on the board, and we know the fact that Fort Pierce and Ocala were kind of the minor league frontons here in the U.S. And you went through that system. You were an amateur player.
Yes.
Became a ball boy at Miami.
Yes.
Played at Fort Pierce and
Yes.
played at Miami. It's a pretty interesting career, but it was standard at that time.
Yeah, there was a really good system back in play, at least in World Highlight. I'm not real familiar with how the other frontons did it back then, but World Highlight owned the North Miami Amateur School, and they didn't own, but they supported the Guernica Highlight School, where they sent cestas and donations, and it was their school, but not their building or property. And that's how they used to bring in players. And, at least in North Miami, you would start off with a rubber ball. You would throw the rubber ball for a couple of weeks until you could get at least a little bit of an idea of how to use a cesta. Then you would move up to the middle hardball court. Back then, they used to use a small modified hardball. And then you would move up to the 150-foot hardball court in North Miami that a lot of, amateurs and professionals alike have played on for many years. And then in 1998, World Highlight, which at that time became Florida Gaming, sold that property. But if you were in the highlight school, and I was in the school with probably another 20 or 30 players that were, kind of competing for the same spot. But when you got to the top of your class, you would then be invited to become the ball boy. And when you're the ball boy, now you're in there with the players. You're their gopher, and you get to practice on the court. And a lot of them take you under their wing, and they go out there and help you out. And then I told the story the other day of how I got my chance to debut in Fort Pierce in 1981.
Okay, looking at the future, and this is what I think a lot of our listeners would like to hear about, and that is, I'll preface it by saying these young French and Spanish kids stayed playing highlight, got a chance to come to the United States, play highlight here at Dania Highlight for a couple of months. At Magic City, we saw guys pick up the game from the beginning, and they were horrible at first.
Yeah.
I'll be the first to say that.
Yeah.
Ex-football players, but good athletes.
Yeah.
Eventually learned, and now the quality of play at Magic City is quite good.
Yeah.
You see the sons of a former player, Douglas.
Yeah. Which are sitting right down there. I see them
they're
from
here
here
today.
I see them right down
Benny and Douglas, and they obviously had a path to play. What path is out there right now for, say, a parent that gives his kid a cesta, loves the game, would like him to learn how to play? There's not a whole lot of opportunity, but what path is there?
Yeah, it's tough. At least my experience here now, this is no longer, when I first started here, I think many know, my first job here in Dania was, I was doing clinics for young kids on Sunday mornings, and, we had kids that would come out, we'd have equipment, we'd teach them. Unfortunately, what I learned at that point, and you know me, I've been since the beginning of time trying to get involved in the amateur world and start a school. I always wanted to be a teacher. I don't want to say the word beg, but I encouraged them not to sell North Miami in 1998, yet they still sold it. I wanted to take it over and run it. That didn't pan out. But what I learned in 2009 when I was doing the clinics here is that, highlight is nobody's first sport here in the United States. Even, today's football Sunday, we have a light crowd. When the Super Bowl, we're probably going to have a zero. Well, we're not going to be playing that. But, highlight is really not anybody's first love here in the United States. And so I would get a couple of kids. A couple of them got pretty good. They got, I wouldn't say advanced, but maybe intermediate. And then their parents or their father would come to me and say, hey, baseball season starts next week, my son's, or soccer season starting, or basketball season starting, and I would lose kids to other sports. And at a certain point, what I was just trying to do is just make it fun. I realized that the kids that were playing at that time, they didn't want to learn how to play the game. They wanted to come out and have fun, which is also okay. I don't have a problem with that, but I was in it for a different reason. And the point of all that being that it's not like that in Spain and France. In Spain and France, it is a lot of people's number one sport. There is the desire to learn, improve, and master the sport. And these guys that are playing here now, they have had the dream to come to play in the United States since the beginning of their existence with Alai, maybe 3, 4, 5 years old. And that's, I think, my goal right now. I said it a couple of weeks ago. I'm living in the moment. I'm not looking too far in the future, and I'm trying to just reference the past. I'm not really living in the past or the future. But what I hope is that these players that came here now, because they came and played here now, got a little bit better. Now when they go back to Spain or France, to Europe, wherever they're from, get an opportunity to play in some of the partidos over there or some of the championships, some of the tournaments, to further improve themselves. And I just hope that when they go back, they speak highly of their experience here, so it'll encourage other kids that are maybe considering not playing anymore to continue to play and maybe at some point have an opportunity to come here.
A game very close to your heart, and obviously there's some passionate hotspots still for this sport.
Yes.
Perrier Park over in the Tampa Bay area.
Yes.
Those guys are very passionate about the game, and they play on a for fun and to have a good time. Yeah. Obviously, the guys up in the Northeast, Matt's court up in Connecticut.
Yes.
There's something good going on there. So it's not over forever, is it?
No, I mean, listen, I haven't been to Matt's court in Connecticut. I hear great things about it, but I have been to the one in St. Pete a couple of times, especially recently. They renovated the whole court. They made it. It's nice. It is a perfect outdoor court. If there was a model to follow to put courts all out through the United States, that court is the perfect model. It's outdoors, it's easy access, and it plays really nice. So I went there last January with my son, and there was some other people that went there as well. And I had a great time. I sprained my ankle, but I had a great time. Real fun.
For sure. And, it's I gave you a lot of credit earlier, and you deserve so much credit. But these guys that listen to the shows, that are on the chat, they're keeping the game alive as well. It's a tough road to hoe, but hey, congratulations on keeping this game alive. We came back for another season, and hopefully, we'll have many more seasons to come. So
thank you, Dave. I appreciate that, and I also, I've said it before. The fan appreciation is a big part of this, and the fan participation is also a big part of this continuing forward. So I'm glad to see that the people are accepting it and are supporting it. And I said it all the time. People are probably sick and tired of me thanking them, but thank you for supporting us. Thank you, Dave, for coming in today. This is going to be my last game because I'm going to go downstairs and do some administrative stuff and close out the week. But it's been a pleasure being with you here today.
And I love doing it as well. I should be here next Sunday to do it again, so tell your friends about it. We'll get more listeners, and we'll keep continuing to do our little part to grow the game.
And they haven't listened to me yet, but maybe if you tell them to like and subscribe, maybe they'll do it. Tell the people out there to please hit the like button.
Please hit the like button and subscribe. We love doing it. We love bringing it to you. So we'll be back in another time. Dave Lamont will be here next week, and we'll probably do a few as well. So your participation is what helps keep the game alive. Thanks for being with us today.
Game number 9. Final game of the afternoon. Spectacular 9 singles action here in game 9. Serving and wearing the red shirt. Post 1 is Vicente. Receiving in blue, post 2, Bailo. Bilo with a strong throw, and it scores. Point two. Bilo sets up center of the court. Left side rebote, two walls, and scores. Point of the two. Wearing the green shirt. Post four is Arrieta. Point two. That's a tough rebote save by Bilo, moving in to get a forehand now. Is Lalu. Is Dehada scores point five. 5 serving to post 6 in the gold shirt. Zulaika. Point six. And 6 will serve to 7 in the brown shirt. Echeverry. Trying to scoop the high bounce was Zulaika, but it's off his cesta, and it's point seven. 7, 7, 8 in purple, Urbieta. And that one clips the sidewall, stays on the court. It's point to 7. All points scored are now worth double. First to 9 wins this superfecta game. Back on the court, Vicente post 1. First to 9 wins it here in game 9. Excellent Dehada by Echeverry, point 7. So 7 will serve now to post 3 Iturbide. And that one sails off the court. Point 3. 3 serving now to post 4, Arrieta. That's an underserve. Point 4. Excellent throw by Bilo, point 2. That's 5 points now for Bilo. Don't forget it takes 9 to win this game. 2 serving now to post 5, Lalu. Point 2. Possible game point for Bilo, post 2, serving out of post 6. That one's too high, out of play. Hits the upper cushion. It's point to the 6. 6 will suit to post 8, Urbieta. And a shot by Zulaika, point 6. He has 5 now, and he'll serve to post 1, Vicente. Excellent carom by Zulaika, point 6. And it's possible game point for Zulaika, post 6. He'll serve now to post 7, Echeverry. That one gets by Echeverry inside. It's point and game, post 6, Zulaika. 2 takes second. Post 7 finishes third. The playoff now for Quad. 3-4, final game of the performance. Quad point. Big bounce winner, point and Quad, post 3. Six, 2, 7, and 3. Your order finish here in the 9th and final game. And here are your prices for the final game. 2-6 Skeetella gets back $19. 6-2 Exacta, $36.20. 6-2-7 Trifecta, $348.80. 6-2-7-3 Super, $448.10 on a $1 ticket. And the late daily double is 8 and 6, returning $72.20. And that will do it, ladies and gentlemen, for this afternoon's performance of the Best in Professional Highlight. It's brought to you by the casino at Dania Beach. A couple of dark days upcoming. Monday and Tuesday, there's no highlight. But we will be back on Wednesday for an evening performance beginning at 7 p.m. Partido action from the Dania Invitational continues also later in the week. Only 2 more weeks of highlight left this year until November rolls around, December rolls around. So make your plans to tell your friends about us and bring them out here to have a great time here at the casino at Dania Beach. Of course, we have all the slot machines, sports simulcasting, horse racing upstairs on the 2nd floor. A lot of great food and drink here as well. A lot of things to do here at the casino at Dania Beach. Make your plans to be here in the final 2 weeks of the highlight season. We hope you've enjoyed today's action, and we ask you to please drive carefully if you are leaving the Fronton. Those of you listening on the internet, have a great week, and we'll look forward to seeing you again soon. For Benny Bueno, I'm Big Dave Lemon saying bye-bye from Highlight.